Welcome back entrepreneurs. Now, tadi udah investment dan brand sourcing team. Now I have all the entire my category leaders here, Hi-Fast category leaders. Ada Melissa, ada Junda, ada Dinda, and of course our chief retail operations, which is Bapak Tinton. So I think yang tadi gue udah jelasin ya. Jadi prosesnya adalah setelah brand, we invest on the brands. There's an onboarding process where basically kayak kita berusaha ngeliat apa yang bisa kita bantu, kita fix, kita improve dan segala macam. And then the entire brand operations move from brand investments to the category teams as well as to the CFT, which is centralized functions team. Nah jadi gue kayak pengen ajak-ajak ngobrol mereka biar mereka bisa lebih sharing apa sih yang mereka sebenarnya lakuin in day-to-day basis. So I'll start with a little bit of serious questions kayak gitu, maybe to Junda. Jun, so goyang samba. I heard,
Oh, okay.
Kalau you adalah dulu artis cilik kayak gitu, and we actually have a video here. Maybe we can insert a video. I just want to verify.
Jadi sih ini.
Okay, thank you guys. Let's back to the scenes. Jun, gue kayak pengen verify doang. Is that actually you? Was that what?
No.
That's you.
My name is Najunda Jusuf. That's not Najunda Jusuf. No.
Oh wow. I think we should vlog. Kita harus taruh di intro decknya kita sih. That's a very amazing.
No.
What was this? No. On serious questions.
No.
What was the story, Jun?
No, there's no story.
15 menit sesi ini kita play video itu aja the goyang samba ya. Okay. Let's do it. So Jun maybe explains a little bit what is your what is day to day of seorang category leader sih selain of course goyang samba.
So it depends on the situation of the category itself. If we see that for right now, I'm leading mom and kids and also men category, and each of the mom and kids and also men category have different stages where they are right now. So depending on the stage, we need to go back with the performance itself. We do week on week and also month on month and see how the development of the performance itself. And we determine action plans, what to improve on. We identify what is the fundamentals that we need to improve on. And then work together, of course, with the rest of the category teams, with the brand managers and also assistant brand managers and the deputy heads itself, and determines what are the things that we need to improve on. After that, we determine what is it that we need to do in order to grow the brands itself. After we determine what is the target, what is the objective that we need to achieve, and then we create a series of action plans and coordinate with the centralized function teams. One of them is the Tinton's team, or even the marketing team, or even the channel team. And then after that, of course, we create a timeline. What is it that we want to achieve, and then how long do we want to achieve it, and what are the factors that needs to contribute in achieving those objectives.
And after that, of course, we goyang samba, so.
Yes, we goyang.
Mel, maybe on you. So Mel is leading our health and beauty categories. Then one thing yang kayak gue notice, right? It feels every month there's now a new health and beauty brand kayak gitu, in Indonesia. Then this is becoming a very a crazy trend. Dan gue kayak ngelihat seberapa edannya teman-teman health and beauty brands, to mention some there's I think something otherwise that using a Korean ambassadors. How do you see this trend? Okay, is it what will be it will be followed by more and more brands atau?
Kalau menurut gue sih dari sisi ini marketing side lah ya. Kalau menurut gue memang orang Indonesia itu masih prone to overseas kind of trend. Kalau misalnya dari skincare, mereka banyak melihat kayak Korean brand, or K-pop, K-drama, sort of thing. Makanya kenapa banyak brand yang memang join the trend dan kayak hire dalam tanda kutip brand ambassador dari Korea untuk popularize their brand. Cuman I think in terms of whether it will be followed with other brand, I think it depends. Karena menurut gue ya tren itu berubah kan. Mungkin sekarang memang K-drama atau K-pop yang lagi ngetrend, tapi tomorrow we never know. Gitu sih. Jadi I think what is essential with beauty brand juga kayak mereka know what's on the market, what's hot, and then follow the trend. Jadi jangan sampai mereka ketinggalan zaman aja.
Tapi do you really see bahwa, I don't know, in the next maybe 10 tahun atau 20 tahun lagi, 25 tahun lagi, gue kayak ngeliat bahwa semakin banyak brand, local consumers kayak gitu, adapting atau berpindah dari those global brands ke local brands, dan the level of trust buat local brands ini nih, it's getting increase.
Yep.
Is it realistic to actually say bahwa in the next, I don't know, 10, 15 years, we will actually, local brands will dominate the health and beauty market in Indo?
I think I'm very optimistic with that. Karena sebenarnya menurut gue, local brands doesn't necessarily have less quality with global brands ya. Jadi sebenarnya orang yang tahu kayak kulit Indonesia ya orang Indonesia sendiri gitu. That's why I think local brands itu launching produk-produk yang memang suitable for Indonesian market, Indonesian problem, skin tone. Jadi menurut gua that's why mungkin rakyat Indonesia gitu ya lebih percaya local brands now because they know local brands create the product that is suitable for them.
Okay,
gitu.
That makes sense. Din, go ke you. So Dinda is leading our woman categories, then I think majority of our woman categories on fashions, then I think you punya very strong experience and background on fashions as well. Gue tuh kayak pengen ngerti aja sih bahwa I think everyone think that the fast fashion is actually the way now, for the brand locals they need to adapt fast every 2 weeks, they need to actually release the products and segala macam. What is is that the right approach atau what do you think?
I think in my honest opinion, there'll be combination kan. One, of course, we have to be fast paced karena of course the trend itself, especially kalau untuk women kategori itu selalu ganti, Matt. There's always new trend coming out, there's always new brand coming out, so the competitiveness itu penting banget. But then at the same time, I think the beauty in retail, because we find that once the brand found their own DNA, especially all the brands in high fast, dan di situ kita bisa explore opportunity untuk grow consistency in those best selling items. Jadi dua kombinasi itu sih. And I believe now so many talented brands in Indonesia locally yang punya benar-benar loyal customers. Karena sekarang juga with the fast fashion and everything, orang Indonesia tuh malah membeli barang-barang Indonesia karena udah nasionalisme tinggi kan. Compare to buying international brands. Itu yang kita ngeliat potensi di situ. So I think many people can actually now have that passion untuk mulai their own brand sih.
Dan jadi lo kayak ngerasa bahwa those brands within Inditex group as example, so Zara's, Bershka dan segala macam should be worried about local brands.
Exactly. We have actually Indonesia itu udah diketahui punya one of the best manufacturers in the world. We produce a lot of international brands, and that's why I think the strength in Indonesia, and kita juga punya talented designers and aspired designers in Indonesia. Mereka dengan manufacturers yang ada, quality bagus, desain bagus, I think we can really compete with those international brands.
Gila. Dia lo well rehearsed banget kayaknya sih. Kayak gitu.
Gila Dinda.
Dulu SPG ya, Pak?
Jualan kan.
Ton, I think on the more serious topic ya, gue masa Allah, gue kayak ngerasa bahwa operations always the biggest challenge kayak gitu buat every brand ya.
Berat bro.
Kayak gitu berat ya. Kayak gitu, those area yang kayak you lead itu kan adalah hal-hal yang berat-berat kayak gitu ya, warehouses ya, operations ya, dia punya supply, gimana manufacturingnya bisa, timingnya pas dan segala macam. What is the biggest challenge kayak setiap brand-brand yang ada yang masuk ke dalam high fast atau kayak brand-brand di luar sana? I mean what are the biggest challenge? What are the steps dan segala macam?
Challenge banyak. Biggest challenge ya kalau menurut gue ya sepanjang yang gue tahu dari apa itu local brand sama brand-brand yang emang udah jadi portfolio kita. Yang pertama, operation sekarang itu mereka nggak terlalu. Operation sekarang itu kan udah sangat jualan kan multi channel apa segala macam. Gap terbesar yang gue lihat di brand lokal adalah mereka gagap sama teknologi. So dalam pemanfaatan teknologi ini yang akhirnya membuat mereka tuh growth-nya jadi susah. Nah di High Fast ini itu biasanya di challenge pertama yang kita address sih. Jadi kayak kita utilize a lot of technology, data driven activities di operational kita. Itu yang sebelumnya banyak brand-brand yang kita akuisisi itu nggak pernah punya akses ke situ. Nah itu challenge terbesar tuh. Yang kedua ya jelas resources brand-brand lokal ini yang mungkin juga nggak terlalu familiar dengan gimana sih ngepakai teknologi itu untuk support mereka punya operational business, dan at the end of the day ya cost savings di bottom line P&L-nya mereka. Itu sih, I think itu yang terbesar, challenge terbesar pertama. Yang kedua, banyak brand kita, dan juga I think brand-brand lokal di luar sana itu nggak punya akses ke supply chain network yang ekstensif gitu. Jadi kayak gimana mereka dapetin raw material dengan good quality dan good price, gimana mereka dapat logistic partner, gimana mereka dapat warehousing partner, gimana mereka bisa punya manufacturing partner yang apalagi kayak Dinda bilang tadi, tiap bulan harus produk baru terus dengan mungkin teknik jahitan yang beda, material yang beda dan segala macam. Dan biasanya mereka nggak punya akses untuk bisa mensupport competitiveness-nya mereka untuk bisa jualan gitu kan katakan. Nah itu yang juga kita build di ekosistem kita kan. We call it an ecosystem. Jadi we give the access untuk brand-brand ini punya, meskipun bisnis brand yang kita akuisisi dari kecil sampai gede, tapi mereka punya akses yang sama gitu untuk bisa punya kompetensi yang sama untuk bisa dapetin akses yang sama. Gitu. Ya, itu sih basically yang kita bantu brand.
Do you feel like bahwa I mean like of course we know bahwa the global brand itu tuh dia juga punya infrastructures, the way like they operate end to end really like it's pretty established
solid,
already dan
seamless,
segala macam
whatever,
kayak gitu,
integrated.
Right? Do you feel like the local brands with the entire ecosystem nggak cuma punya kita doang ya. I mean, sekarang udah punya banyak.
Betul.
Can actually like be up to that like level in terms of the quality of like customer service, like maybe the level of like fulfillment, the level of like the more efficient warehouses dan segala macam.
Betul.
Do you feel like we can be on that level?
Definitely. I think semuanya harus ke arah sana ya. Itu kita harus kejar ke arah sana. That's the intention, that's the purpose. Gitu kan ya Dinda?
Betul sekali.
Jadi itu mimpi dan itu yang harusnya jadi komitmen kita gitu. Itu yang kita kejar ke arah sana. Karena at the end of the day ya semua persaingan kan selalu mengerucut ke efisiensi, kecepatan ya gitu-gitu kan. Nah itu disitulah harusnya kita bisa deliver lebih banyak benefit.
Yeah, no, for sure. Mel, maybe I'll go to you a little bit like on this one, right? Gue kayak ngerasa bahwa 2, 3, 4 years ago, when there's an idea came bilang bahwa gue mau jualan brand health and beauty online. It was like a crazy idea, like who's going to like use products kayak gitu on their skin dan tanpa coba dulu atau lihat dulu dan segala macam. And now it seems like people comfortable like with buying health and beauty products online. Why do you think like this happen?
Yang pertama sih dari sisi the convenient and comfortable. Orang-orang yang udah beli online. Jadi they don't doubt that the product is actually defective or palsu ya kita ngomongnya ya. Jadi memang mereka udah mulai punya keyakinan kalau yang mereka beli online itu actually genuine and then in a good condition. Itu yang pertama. Terus yang kedua, I think the power of social commerce as well. Jadi it's not only the KOL sounding about it, but also dalam tanda kutip kayak orang-orang biasa gitu yang beranikan diri untuk being the first to try and then review it online. And then they put the review online and also the product online. Ya katakanlah kita saying all the marketplaces out there. And then they put a good review or bad review or whatever review that they experience. Now that become reflective of how good the product is. Dan itu yang membuat kayak the next buyer will comfortable based on that reviews. Gitu. Jadi kalau mereka ngeliat kayak ternyata produknya bagus, then they have more confidence to buy it. Dan menurut gue kayaknya memang itu yang sekarang udah menjadi tren dan udah menjadi kebiasaan ya. Kayak you can see the genuine reviews online instead of offline. Karena kalau di offline kan you can only like test the product pada saat itu dan nggak ngelihat kayak impact-nya for the next 1 month or 2 months. Sedangkan orang yang nge-review di online mungkin mereka udah coba lebih lama, then they can put like a real review out there and make people realize like whether this product is good or not. Gitu.
That makes sense. And then like it's just becoming a rolling effect, right?
Yes.
Semakin banyak ini. Oh, makes sense. Oh, I'm actually very excited sih mengenai health and beauty business. I think for those who actually don't know yet as well, one of our HiFest biggest focus this year would be on all around personal care, health and beauty as well. I think we're very excited as well about the fashion accessories, with the a little bit of home and living as well that we're thinking to actually going. Cuman we feel like with this racings on the health and beauty local brands is a good time to kind of looking more and more for the local brands. Jun, gue kayak pengen deep down a little bit on the specifically one brand under you, right, which is Boho Panas, and I feel gue kayak selalu very proud to cerita kayak gitu bahwa Boho Panas is part of our portfolios. This is not brand yang it's actually brand based di Semarang even. It's not based in Jakarta atau based in Surabaya atau Bandung. It's based in Semarang. You've known siapa namanya Devi and Irin, how they've been working dan segala macam. What do you think what do we like really about this brand? Apa yang kita suka sih? How do you see Devi dan Irin dan segala macam?
I think it's very similar to what Mel mentioned before. I mean, of course, all of our brands have this essence, but specifically with Boho Pana, Devi and Iren both created this brand because they see that there is a personal needs, because they're both our moms.
And then I'm asking this specifically mengenai Boho Pana adalah because I think it's probably safe to actually say Boho Pana is now one of the largest in Indonesia in terms of baby clothes, no? Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So like I said, they decided to create this brand because they're both moms. It comes from their own personal experiences. And then they see what they need from what is available in the market. During that time, what is available in the market, number one, we as moms know yang available in the market sometimes when it comes to the price range that they can afford, the quality is not there. At the same time, when we want the quality that we needed for our babies, kan yang namanya orang tua nggak mau ngasih bahan sembarangan untuk kulit bayi. Sometimes they become very sensitive skins, etc. The price doesn't make sense. Karena the way that we see baby and kids fashion, sometimes we see it as a disposable products. Every 3 months you have to change it. Babies grow gitu kan, you can't help it, right? So because of what they need and what is not available in the market, this is the spirit that we're always looking for in our brand founders. This is what actually is the essence of why the local brands actually survive and able to grow up until today. It's the spirit to be able to fulfill what is not available in the market as well, and that is suitable for the local market.
Got it.
Nah, jadi dari situ, and if you are familiar with Boho Panas products, it's that kalau ibu-ibu di luar sana lihat, biasanya baju-baju bayi itu yang kalau orang dewasa bilang lumayan bikin sakit mata gitu, merah, terang, biru, terang gitu kan. Yeah, sometimes it's good for the babies, but it's not so pleasant for the parents to see gitu. And then that's why Boho Pana gives out, the color palettes that is not available in the market. That's why they get the competitive advantage from the beginning, with the quality that is needed and the price range that is highly affordable for the Indonesian market. Plus, like tadi Mel juga bilang, rasa nasionalisme Indonesia untuk barang Indonesia juga udah mulai ada, and the quality doesn't lie. So that's how they've been able to continuously grow until now.
Yeah, no, makes sense. I think the very first time we explore sama Boho Pana, gue kayak memang benar-benar ngerasa bahwa how Irin and also Devis has been really putting a lot of efforts all out, right? Gue kayak selalu kasih contoh Irin sama Devi itu sampai pernah kayak ngejual rumah kayak gitu buat ngemodalin si Boho Pana. And that's very brave actions, right? And it's actually turns out well. Okay, and I think Din, gue tuh selalu penasaran. Jadi gue kayak pernah nanya kalau kayak brand yang menurut lo paling
Penasaran banget ya, Matt?
Penasaran banget.
Penasaran banget loh.
Gue aja deg-degan pertanyaan.
Karena tadi dibahas loh.
Paling menurut lo yang paling I mean, I think all of our brands when we invest, like, you know, punya amazing potentials, right? But you put like, you know, a quite special spotlight kayak gitu ya buat Nura.
Iya.
And I'm curious, like, you know, to actually hear why.
Oke. Yes. So kayaknya waktu gue jawab itu kaget kan lo kan kayak why gitu. No, because actually Nura is
Why
one of
in the positive way?
in the positive way gitu. Maksudnya kayak
In the more curious way.
curious way. And I was like, the thing is about Nura yang gue sadari gitu kan, basically adalah gak banyak yang main di market itu, which is buat yang nggak tahu itu Nura itu adalah berawal dari modest activewear. Jadi modest industry itself tuh udah gede banget sekarang sebenarnya di Indonesia especially ya. Even in the world pada saat Nike aja memulai mereka pakai modest icon like few years back and the opportunity is there. Jadi sebenarnya adalah apalagi sekarang post pandemic semua orang olahraga. Gue yang nggak bisa main sepeda tiba-tiba belajar naik sepeda gitu kan.
Thank you, Pandemic.
Karena gue nggak tahu mau ngapain. Anyway.
Masa kecil lo kemana ya?
Ya nggak bisa kan.
Achievement unlock.
Achievement unlock ya. Anyway, di situ sebenarnya potensinya gitu bahwa
Main
banyak
sepeda maksudnya.
betul.
Sorry.
orang tuh butuh olahraga, butuh pakaiannya, but we don't carry that. And that's why we see sebenarnya kalau misalnya contohan our best selling itu sebenarnya adalah hijabnya atau bergonya si Nura. Salah nyebut maaf Nura. Berarti kan sebenarnya potensinya di sana gitu. So that's why sekarang ini adalah basically we just have to see what's the market there, pricing seperti apa, and how we can expand the category itself. Dan gue sih believe brand ini akan banyak bisa grow banget sih.
Mantap banget. Jualan kategori.
Jual.
Okay, anyway, because like, you know, running out of time, Ton, maybe like, you know, the very last one, you know, what is your pesan-pesan kepada like, you know, young entrepreneurs out there?
3M ya teman-teman. Well, kita nggak pernah tahu kan pandemi selesai sampai kapan. And kalau ekonomi membaik kan bisnis kita juga lebih baik. Ya nggak sih? And terus support UMKM, terus support brand lokal, ya gitu dong. Ya nggak sih? We love our local brand as we believe it.
Kita semua udah tes ya sebelum kita ngelakuin ini, makanya kita nggak pakai masker, kayak itu coba kita udah tes.
Apa ya tadi hasil tes gue? Pesan-pesannya sih mungkin kalau untuk brand lokal, nggak sih? Buat siapa sih pesan?
Iya, buat brand lokal dan
brand lokal ya, dan entrepreneur di sana. Teruslah berkarya. Ingat kan Bung Karno pernah ngomong, beri aku 3 pemuda. Ku cabut Semeru dari akarnya.
Bravo.
Hah? Bravo. Ya maksud aku gini, mungkin banyak dari teman-teman di industri
serius,
lokal,
kan? Ini
ya
serius.
mungkin banyak industri lokal sekarang ngalamin pasang surut, ya nggak sih, apalagi dengan kondisi situasi yang daya beli masyarakat makin menurun, terus tiba-tiba inflasi, bahan baku naik 30% dari Oktober tahun lalu ya, untuk yang biasa beli kain, pasti udah tahu ngalamin, sementara kita mau naikin harga nggak bisa. Nah, artinya memang bener-bener sekarang tuh semua industri, semua dari segmen bawah sampai atas lagi in the deep pressure banget sih gitu. So, hang on. Ya harus bertahan ya, sabar, banyak berdoa, dan bisa mungkin ngobrol sama kita-kita di Hypefest untuk, you know, like, karena ya to be honest ya, bukan bragging ya, beberapa brand kita masih mencetak pertumbuhan bisnis yang sangat bagus. Significantly bagus banget gitu. Bahkan di masa pandemi nggak yakin kan ya, makanya ngobrol sama kita. Jadi I think tim brand acquisition yang tadi ada ngobrol sama Matt itu, nah teman-teman bisa nanti ada kontaknya di bawah ini. Gitu. Tapi ya intinya itu aja sih Matt paling ya, karena ya saya juga bukan Tuhan, nggak tahu masa depan. Poinnya adalah sabar, bertakwa,
Rajin sholat.
berusaha,
baterai kamera bentar lagi habis ini.
dan cuek aja. Udah. Oke, paling dari gue itu, Matt.
Oke, thank you so much Mel, Jun, Dinda, sama Tinton. Tepuk tangan dulu buat mereka. Thanks for everyone who actually has been watching this. I think kayak ada 20 juta followers tadi yang kayak kita lihat.
40 boleh.
For the next episode, we still have a lot of like, you know, amazing contents, amazing like, you know, brand founders will be joining me on these sessions. Misalnya next episode gue punya 2 pasangan suami istri yang udah berusaha ngebangun bisnis dari nol sampai sekarang. And they will like, you know, share also like, you know, a lot of tips on nggak cuman yang enak-enaknya aja nih, tapi like, you know, juga yang pahit-pahitnya, yang buruk-buruknya, yang susah-susahnya mengenai building the business. See you on the next episode.